This training video is on HLS capability of automatically converting 3 single channels into a single RGB channel. Primarily this is used if you've just converted a Vixen file that you were using for maybe pixel strings, or if you're like me, you've got multiple colors and you want to reduce them to a single, at least in the editor, a single channel and call it an RGB. If we assume that you just loaded a fairly large Vixen file, you would not be seeing any channels in front of you as you are on this demo. And that's because you haven't selected them yet. But I'm using this as a test file. So if we come up to Manage Channels, look at Raw Channels, I just wanted to show you that for this demo, we have a total of 21 channels. And we've got 15 of them that are RGB channel. I'm going to show you how to convert these 15 down to 3 automatically. We'll be able to save that. If you want to call it a profile, we'll call it an RGB conversion profile. So if you've got the same Vixen profile that you've used and you're going to be converting multiple Vixens, then once you set up this RGB conversion, you can apply it multiple times. So primarily where you would be is you had just completed a Vixen conversion. Now before you do anything up here in Manage Channels, you're actually going to go up and you're going to say Auto Convert Channels to RGB. And what it does is it gives you all of your channels here on the left hand side, and you've got columns red, green, blue, and RGB. If you see down here, it says left mouse click to add, right mouse click to remove. What that means is we're going to left click on a channel, and then we're going to turn around and left click it on the appropriate place over here. So for instance, we'll just start with this one. Here's a red channel. We click it. Notice it turns yellow, meaning that it's been selected, and we're going to put it in red. We want to build the 3 individual channels that are going to make up our RGB. So the next one is green. So we'll move the green one over and we'll move the blue one over. And if you noticed over here, they've turned gray, meaning they're not selectable anymore. We don't have to do them in order, but you do have to keep them across. So again, we'll just pick green, blue. Now, if you notice, what turns up in the RGB, I just take the name of the last channel and I put it over here. You're probably going to want to edit that to do something with it. There's blue. Now, I'm going to show you something. Let's say we go red and we go green over here in blue. We don't want that anymore. What you do is you right click on that and it puts it back over in the list. Once it's back in the list, now you can appropriately select it. So what I've done now is I've identified my 15 individual channels of which I want to turn into an RGB channel. And right now I'm saying we're going to call this, let's just make this thing, I'll just call this, we'll just put RGB in front of all these, okay? If you're doing this, you're probably going to put a more descriptive name, but we'll just do this. Now, if we were to convert this right now, which we don't want to do, we want to save this as a conversion profile because I may have 3 or 4 Vixen files and I want to be able to do the same conversion on the other ones, but I don't want to go through the detailed operation I just went through. So I'm going to go ahead and save this, and we'll give it a name here. We'll just call it test RGB2 because I've already got a test RGB up there. So we'll call it a test RGB2. And it tells us it saved 5 conversions. Now, I'm going to show you something. So you've saved it. So let's get out of here. Let's assume that you've saved it and this is a brand new, a different conversion. You've just loaded another one just to show you what's going to happen. Now, if you come along and say, hey, I'm going to load that. Here's the RGB2 one. If we load it, If you notice, it automatically did the conversion for us. So that's why you want to save that profile. The option is down here. After we do this conversion, do we want to delete these channels? And usually you may want to do the first one just as a test and then redo it and say, yeah, delete it afterwards, just until you get comfortable with it. The idea is to delete those 15 channels, replacing them with 5 RGB. So we're going to go ahead, delete the channels after the conversion. I'm just doing a sanity check. That's what we want. And it tells me I've converted 5. Now, if we come up here into Manage Raw, you're going to see we've had a dramatically reduction in the number of channels, and I've got RGB channels. I put all the RGBs in Universe 990 or 99 to help you separate them. Now, you're not going to see any of that reduction change until you save it. Make sure you save it. Go ahead and get out of it. And then start it back up again. You're just seeing the debugger here. So we're going to come back up again, and then we're going to reload it. Now we can come up and we're going to say select. We're just going to say give me all. And we're going to modify the list. Here's everything. I'm going to come up and I'm going to view it all. And if you notice, now those were not 3 individual channels anymore. They're single RGB channels. So we've just had a great channel reduction from 15 single channels down to 5 RGB. We've created a profile that we can use multiple times as long as our Vixen profile doesn't change. And when I mean Vixen profile doesn't change, means the channel names don't change. I do everything by string comparison by channel name. And that concludes this training on automatic single channel to RGB conversion.